Hey guys, just so you know that this video is sponsored by Ant-Keeping Depot. In today's video, I'm going to be actually moving my large meat ant colony from their beta nest, a early release version per se, before I suggested making it stackable. The owner over at the company went away and actually designed it to be stackable, but it meant there were small little changes in it, meaning this beta unit isn't compatible with the stackable release version. So I want to add another floor to this, but I need to move them out of the ground floor as well. So they're going to be going from one beta nest to two release nests in a stacked formation. So I'm just going to start off with trying to cut off their access from the outworld to the current nest. One of the main reasons that I'm also doing this is not only for room, is I want to open up the second port for access so they're not bottlenecking in this piece of tube. Also, what I did notice from this piece of tube is they're actually chewing the way through it. You see all that fading on the bottom part of that tube that we're looking at? Yeah, that's not like dried sugar or anything like that. That's actually teeth marks going through the vinyl tubing. So yeah, eventually they were going to just pop out of that one day and catch me by surprise. So this is the setup. The nest is just out of shot with all the ants in it. We have the nest to outworld adapter ready to go, and I have connected up to the nest, and the new nests, which are the ones available to buy, are already set up and stacked. All I've got to do is link up this one piece here. Now this port has never been used before, so I think the nest down there, like I said, they need quite a lot of room, so it's going to be quite hard to get it in. Hopefully I don't get too many ants. I remember here there was an ant sort of in the way, but he tucked his head in and I went for it. So to stop them chewing through the vinyl tubing again, what I've done is I've made the vinyl tubing so small that it's got an inner layer of 3D printed port insulating it. As you can see, there's not really any vinyl tubing to chew through. Could I put the ports point blank to each other? I ended up with about 6 or 7 escapees, and I just easily popped them back in the outworld. Now the nest, on the other hand, what I did is, because the beta nest is compatible with being connected to the release nests, as long as you don't stack it. So I just simply magnetized them together here. This is the first story, new nest, connected up to the old beta nest. I've just propped that up on a lunchbox to make it the correct height, and I've connected it up so they've got direct access straight through. I made sure that the new nests were hydrated, heated, and everything was fine. And then what I did is I made the old nest cool, very light and bright, and a slight breeze running through the nest, accomplished by putting all the ports with cotton wool and then a fan that's oscillating, blowing in. It created some moving air. I cooled it with putting a microwavable meal underneath, but not in contact. That cooled the temperatures, and simply a bright LED light. And believe it or not, they were moving before I'd even got most of that out. But all that did do was encourage a lot of the ants that weren't moving at all for no reason to sort of take part. But I noticed a lot of them ants were also dragged off by the very active worker force that was moving all the larvae and brood. The queen, however, she was stubborn. She shoved herself right in the corner, right on the wrong side of the nest. So I stopped cooling it, and I just stayed with a slight breeze, like the fan was across the room, but it was having an effect. So I turned the fan down, I removed the cooling, and I just used a bright light in her vicinity but not directly on her, and waited for the workers to finish with the eggs, which was taking most of their time, and eventually they came in and sort of dragged her for about an inch, and then she walked without needing to be dragged into the new first story nest. But then after about 10 minutes she returned to the mostly empty original nest, and I used the light torch just to make the corridor ahead of her super bright, and the corridor behind her where she's coming from, her new nest, dark, and it was enough for her to turn around and realise, that wasn't the place to go. Once she was back in, there was about 20 workers left, but all the eggs were gone. It was cleared out, they were just like patrolling it. So I disconnected it with them in it, and I sealed up the main unit and placed it on the shelf, as you see here. Then I unbolted the older nest, and pretty much one at a time got the 20 odd ants out and into this open outworld. I then scrubbed the old outworld with a toothbrush, specifically for my cleaning, in hot soapy water, and that turned out, I would say 95% nearly looking new. So I will be reusing that when I don't need to stack. It's perfectly fine to connect from any of the angles, it's just not designed to stack. But I think I could get one more stack in between my shelves at the current height of my shelves, and I think that's something I would certainly look into in the future. But I know my next thing is that outworld. They've got a very old first generation high-tech ants outworld, and it's done them fantastic for a long time, but they need an even bigger, exaggerated sort of PTFE lip. So that's actually being cut specifically for my replacement unit. But I won't be getting rid of this outworld. It'll just be given to another species that isn't so mischievous about getting on the inside of the lid, ready to bite you every time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, pop a like, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot.